Monetary and fiscal policy are designed to create a bridge in between the real economy and a future time. Let's print money now to fix the issue and claw that back at some point in the future. Or let's spend billions in taxpayer dollars and give it out to corporations so their CEOs can have record bonuses. The financial crisis is here, and it can only be reversed by a record-breaking monetary and fiscal stimulus, one which will send our stock markets rising to heights never seen before, while the value of our currencies are destroyed. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we will talk about Bernanke admitting that printing money is not working. That's right, Helicopter Ben himself. Let's move into this article here out of the Washington Post, and it is making reference to the 2016 elections. Many corporate givers this cycle are well-established hedge funds, energy companies, and real estate firms, but a significant share of the money is coming from these newly created LLCs with cryptic names that offer few clues about their backers. And this is what they term as ghost corporations. One of them, Children of Israel. It's a company formed in California, and this individual, a real estate agent, helps Chinese buyers find homes in Silicon Valley. And they talk about this as a donation. That's at least what it's listed as. The article gets into much more detail here, but essentially what I wanted to talk about is, very briefly, that whenever we have these campaigns, particularly in the past couple, what we have seen is there are major corporate donors that are able to use their loopholes and get around this. But basically, they end up supporting whoever is bankrolling these politicians. They obviously reciprocate when it comes time to make laws. And this is clearly obvious with those in the financial industry. Look at all the big donors and look at the laws that are made throughout their term. It is very, very easy to see. Let's move into this. We're talking about foreign buyers in the U.S. Starwood Hotels and Resorts on Friday said a $13 billion cash offer from China's Anbang insurance group was superior to the one from Marriott International, setting the stage for the largest ever deal by a Chinese company in the United States. The article does get into more of this here, and I may touch on it, but what I wanted to say here is that foreign investors are supporting a lot of the real estate around the world. And, what I'm saying here is, for example, China is supporting the U.S. China is supporting areas like Vancouver in Canada. And you can see that. But where it gets a little tricky is when these corporations that are purchasing the land or other corporations, they are owned in part or indirectly by the government. That's when it gets a little tricky, because you don't necessarily want a foreign government to own too much of your country, particularly infrastructure and assets that could be a problem if there was to be a war breaking out, for example. That's the danger here. The operator of the Sheraton and Westin Hotel said the Chinese insurer's offer beat the Marriott's previously agreed cash and stock offer by nearly 15%, and that it planned to scrap the proposed deal with the rival hotel chain. Anyway, it gets into more here if you're interested in this. I just wanted to note the fact that foreign buyers are the ones who are usually, at least in this past little while, the ones who are supporting this boom in the housing in these select areas. Many are depressed still, but some have been rising. Monetary policy in the United States and other developed countries is, quote, reaching its limits. So this is the stimulus man, Ben Helicopter Bernanke, saying that is reaching its limits, but the Federal Reserve has not yet run out of responses to a potential slowdown, according to the former Fed chairman Ben Bernanke. Of course, they have so many tools, so many options. In fact, just speaking words is now a tool. In a blog post for the Brookings Institute, he argued that, quote, balanced monetary fiscal response would be better to boost the economy than the monetary tools alone. What does that mean? It means that you got to do more TARP-type bailouts and we have to print money. That's right. You need to stimulate the economy just like we did back in 2009. That's how we got out of this mess, and just more of that equals better. Negative interest rates hold modest benefits, but are unlikely. Even Janet Yellen, if you look at this article here, there's a video, which you can watch, a short video of Janet Yellen. And basically she says that, we're not necessarily saying that we're not going to do negative interest rates, but we don't intend to do so. I'm a little skeptical of where they will go with negative interest rates, but we see the many countries in the world starting to adopt this in one way or another, so it wouldn't surprise me. I assess the probability that this tool will be used in the US as quite low for the foreseeable future. Nevertheless, it would be worthwhile for the Fed to conduct further analysis. Of course. Let's weigh our options. Let's throw that on the table. At least if we talk about it, the market will price that in and we can get it to boost up higher. This is the kind of stimulus that we're dealing with. Look at it. You can see that the chart prior to the financial crisis was a slow and steady incline, which was bad as it is in the monetary base. You don't want it to expand at the rate that it was. But as soon as the financial crisis came, the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve, the monetary base, the amount of money in circulation expanded so dramatically it had never been seen before ever. In fact, more money was created in a year and a half than all other years combined before it. If that isn't startling, then I really don't know what is. Social Security Administration beneficiaries top 60 million. This is oftentimes what we see really being a heavy burden. You want to look at it one way or another. From the government's point of view, it's a heavy burden to support 60 million people, to be giving out paychecks to 60 million people. And these numbers aren't getting any better. There are more people dependent on the government now than ever before. It's getting worse. This is partly due to the demographics that we have. It's just the way it is. With an aging society, you have this problem. Look at Japan. Look at other countries, in fact, in Europe, who are hurting really bad from their pensions. They owe the people money and they are in extreme amounts of debt. So it's only time that will tell. This is interesting here. Carl's Jr., a CEO of a fast food company, is causing a stir on social media after claiming that he wants to create a fully automated restaurant. This is what we're talking about with robotics and automation stealing jobs. The CEO said this: we could have a restaurant that's focused on all natural products and is much like an Eatsa, where you order on a kiosk, you pay with a credit card, and your order pops up and you never see a person. This is the kind of thing, and they even mentioned it here, they wouldn't have to worry about rising minimum wage because they're not paying people. They have robots that just work 24/7. You can keep the stores open all day long and it will continue to operate. Nobody has to go on break and nobody needs to get paid. And that's where our jobs are going. It's funny when you hear people reject this idea about the jobs being taken away by robotics and automation. After the financial crisis, many people who did get their job back were getting temporary work, and they were getting it in places like McDonald's. So they were hiring cashiers at McDonald's, this is a few years back, at $9 an hour. I covered it here on the channel. $9 an hour. And what does that say about the value of educated people at this time? Because their job simply, it's just not worth anything anymore. So they say, look, we're willing to take on these university graduates, we're going to pay them $9 an hour. And now those people won't even get the jobs because they're going to be replaced by a robot. Just one little quick thing. China wants to have their own minority report. Can you believe it? The Chinese government wants to know everything, every text a person sends, every extra stop they make along the way home. It's designed for dissidents, but it means they'll know every time a smoker buys a pack of cigarettes, how much gas a car owner uses, what time the new mom goes to bed, and what's in the bachelor's refrigerator. Of course, they're just making these sort of ideas, but they want to collect all of this data. It sounds a lot like the NSA to me, except China wants to control it on their own. And of course, the excuse to predict terrorist acts before they occur. Sure. Brazilian president supporters took off to the streets and to fight back at attempts to oust her as a flurry of court battles rage over her controversial cabinet appointment of predecessor Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva. And what I'm seeing here is a revolt, because in many countries, look at the US, perfect example, where you have an individual who has gone completely beyond the law. And what happened? Absolutely nothing. There was no impeachment, wasn't even really serious. Then you take individuals in Greece and in Italy who were appointed positions in these countries, prime ministers. As you look, I mean, nothing happens. They appoint people to positions. There's all this criminality. Nobody even says anything. At least speak your mind. It's just really sad to see the way everything's gone. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. Head over to Amazon and you can actually flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.